32 ACP versus 380 ACP and pocket pistols. And what I have today is our Fiocchi Range Dynamics full metal jacket ammunition. Our 32 ACP is a 73 grain rated at 1,000 feet per second. Our 380 ACP is a 95 grain rated at 960 feet per second. I'm going to use my kel-tec P32 to test the 32 ACP and my Ruger LCP to test the 380 ACP. So I've had a lot of requests to test this 32 ACP. I've tried for 4 months to acquire it, and it's been difficult to acquire because every time I have it ready to buy, it like sells out where I have it. So I finally have some, but people wanted me to test it because they say it's a lot more powerful than every other 32 ACP full metal jacket out there. And when you're looking for a defensive round in 32 ACP, you know, it's better to go with full metal jacket rather than a hollow point that won't expand. So we'll see what we get with these. So I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. So we're going to go into plain clear ballistics to see what the best potential those cartridges are. No denim or anything like that in the way to clog a hollow point if they were a hollow point. Then we're going to move on to a real world simulation where I have 4 layers of sweatshirt material on this first 3-inch piece that represents our pectoral muscle. Kind of redundant, but I like to stay consistent with my tests. After 3 inches of clear ballistics, we'll have a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum. And then we'll do 16 more inches of clear ballistics and then a back rib simulation to represent back ribs. So clear ballistics is roughly a half representation of real flesh. So instead of 3 inches and 16 inches, it's more like 1.5 inches and then 8 inches. So it'll give us kind of a real world simulation. If we pass through those back ribs, that'll kind of indicate that that's over penetrating. Then after we do our ballistics gel test, I'm going to shoot at the steel target to see what kind of practical accuracy I can get with these. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 380 ACP. We are 95 grains rated at 960 feet per second. Let's see if we get in this little LCP pistol here. See how close we get to 960 feet per second. 778, 780, 802, 770. All right, so quite a bit below our rated velocity. Now our 32 ACP, this is rated at 1,000 feet per second. People are saying this is very hot and it's hotter than every other ammo out there of comparable bullet weights and styles. So I did write down some numbers I got in the past with other ammo. Cellular and Bellet, 773 feet per second on average. With our American Eagle, 737 feet per second. MagTech, 71 grain jacket at hollow point, 829 feet per second. So people are definitely saying this is a lot hotter than that. We're going to get way above 829 feet per second for sure. But let's see what we get here. See what we get with our 32 ACP. Is that a read? 781, 737, 762, 761, 729, 771, 755. Basically the same as every other target ammo out there. So I don't know where people got the idea this was significantly hotter. Doesn't appear to be. Let's hit our ballistics gel block and see how these compare. All right, our first shot in the plain clear ballistics. No denim in the way to clog a hollow point if it were a hollow point. Really redundant in this test, but I like to put it up with our real world simulation just to show how, you know, full metal jackets don't care about denim. So nothing like that in the way, no rib simulation, just our best potential for penetration. Let's see what we get here with our 380 ACP. All right. Let's hit that with our 32 ACP. Let's go take a look. All right, a little bit of difference there in the amount of penetration for sure between the 380 and the 32. Does look like we probably had some tumbling with that 380, but it did straighten back out straight. So we definitely had you know, what most people would consider over penetration with the 380. I don't really think it is, because I think our real world simulation will show that it's really not over penetrating. But you know, just average damage in that first 3 inches, a little more with our 380, and we stopped at about 20 inches of penetration. Our 32, it looks like it just went perfectly straight, and we are at 17.25 inches of penetration. So statistically, without any ribs or anything like that in the way, our 32 did better. But let's see how it does in our real world simulation. All right, a real world simulation: 4 layers of sweatshirt material, 3 inches of clear ballistics, a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum, 16 more inches of clear ballistics, which really is like 8 inches of flesh, and then another 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting back ribs. Let's see what we get with our 380 here. All right, let's hit that with our 32 ACP, see how that compares. Let's go take a look. All right, so we did not even go that far after going through that rib simulation. Now, this is the thing. You know, this is why I don't do the FBI testing. I think that the FBI type testing is flawed, because they will put into their calculations that, you know, bones are included in that penetration. So whatever number they get that's okay, that includes, you know, some of that being lessened by bones. But what they're not taking into consideration is sometimes ribs will significantly deform a bullet, and that will completely change the amount of penetration it would have. So I think their testing is flawed. So that's why I'm always using a rib simulation. I think it sheds a better light on reality here. So what we got with our rib simulation here: 380 on the bottom and 32 on top. They do appear to be moving straight, and that's good. And that actually is something that we do want to see with pocket pistols like this. There are some rounds that they start to tumble immediately before they hit this, and they will show quite a bit of under penetration. But these particular rounds are moving straight through that barrel and out the muzzle and going through the rib simulation straight. So I would say they're really good in that respect. Our 380 ACP, we have a penetration of 17 inches, so we are perfectly fine for penetration in my mind. And then when we look at our 32 ACP, we're about 14.5 inches of penetration, so perfectly acceptable with both of these. So I'm not seeing a huge advantage here looking at the 380 ACP over the 32. You know, recoil is definitely less with the 32, and it's doing pretty good. A little bit less damage. It probably would be a little tiny bit less effective than the 380 in a real world situation, but not bad performance overall. I'd say both are pretty comparable. So let's shoot our steel, see what kind of practical accuracy we can get on steel, how well follow-up shots are. But first, let's take a look at these bullets, pull these out of the block and take a look at them. So let's do that. All right, so here's a close-up look at these bullets pulled from plain gel, our 380 ACP and our 32 ACP. I did pull out a couple unfired rounds here to show, you know, the bullet shape on these unfired. And with our 380 ACP, there is just a little bit of a flat nose going on, just the way it comes. As we're with our 32 ACP, a very, very rounded nose. I was thinking we had a flattening of the nose, but we did not. So we have no change to either of these bullets going through plain gel, not that we would. And we can see they are true full metal jackets and not total metal jackets. There's our 380, here's our 32 ACP. Looks like the brass content's probably a little bit higher in our 32 ACP for some reason. I'm going through a medium density fiberboard. It looks like potentially our 380, you know, flattened just a tad more than what it was after hitting that rib simulation, but pretty much no change. And our 32 ACP looks about the same as well. Not really any change to that bullet. Not that there would be, because these are very low powered cartridges. Now, if these were like, you know, Full Metal Jacket 45 Supers, yeah, you'd probably see a round nose turn to a flat nose very quickly, just because of how much energy. But with stuff like this, you know, the low amount of energy is not going to change a whole lot. So they look pretty much the same as they did unfired. So that's a close-up look at those. All right, 14 yards from the target. So I'm just going to see how the follow-up shots do for me, see if there's a huge difference in felt recoil, how quickly can I place them on target quickly. You know, I was firing over the chronograph and doing the ballistic gel test. I really could not tell the difference in felt recoil because I'm firing one round very slowly. So it's hard for me to tell if there's really a big difference. So I always like to save my judgment till after I do these type of tests, because sometimes, you know, what you feel and what you can do will kind of change your opinion on it if you can hit the target faster or slower with certain rounds. So I'm going to get a front sight picture and then pop them off as fast as I think I can hit the target. So 14 yards from the target, 380 ACP, Rigger LCP here. All right, not too bad. Not a lot of recoil, to be honest. 32 ACP. So I can do it this. Kel-tec P32. Right, not a huge difference there in felt recoil. I would say the 380 probably has 20% more recoil. It's not significantly more. And that could be the fact that I did put a extra power spring in this LCP, a 13-pound spring. That could be due to that fact. But yeah, not a huge difference in felt recoil. Now, when you go up to hotter ammo, a lot of times there is a huge difference, but with this, they're pretty similar. So let me back it up a little bit and see how they continue to do for me for accuracy from some distance. All right, 40 yards from the target, so I'm going to see what I can do for accuracy here. You know, at 14 yards, I was just kind of winging it. You know, I'm just getting a front sight picture. So you do see sometimes those rounds kind of going a little bit too far to the left for me because I'm not really seeing the back sights. With this 40 yards here, I'm going to try to get a nice front and back sight picture and really aim these things. So 40 yards from the target, let's see how I can do it with our 380 ACP. All right, so these are shooting quite high for me at that distance for some reason. So I'm going to aim at the very base of the target. All right, so I don't know why those are doing so poorly for me. A lot of people say that's just me, but I don't know what's going on. Let's see what I do with our 32 here. All right, so this did a little bit better for me, actually a lot better. Just for fun, I'm going to sling some from 75 yards. There's really no point to that, but I haven't really done that much with these pistols, and that's kind of fun, so let me do that. All right, 75 yards from the target. This is literally just for fun. I like to have a challenge and just goof off sometimes when it comes to this type of stuff. Not safety-wise goof off, but just kind of, you know, see where these are going to hit at distances that are very unlikely to be accurate at. I find that kind of stuff fun. I always have. So 380 ACP. Let's see how I can do with this. 75 yards. Try to keep an eye on where they're going. Really, really, really high. So what I was doing there, I started noticing that they were going everywhere, but pretty much the more consistent place they were hitting was high right by, you know, 10 feet. Camera parallax down there will make it look like it's not that far off, but it was. So I was basically aiming maybe 8 feet low and left when I made that last hit. 32 ACP. Same with this. Same level of accuracy and the same type of thing I was seeing going all over the place. You know, when I shoot even low calibers like this with like jacket or hollow point ammo, I do see things that stay consistent. Like if they're hitting a certain spot, they'll continue to. But whenever I shoot full metal jacket ammo of this power level, what you'll see is, you know, low right by 6 feet, high right by 10 feet, low left by 6 feet, and it'll be an area that's like a 20-foot circle. Obviously, I'm not that poor at shooting for that to happen. As where with jacket hollow points, I can kind of dial them in. And I think really what's going on is with ammo like this, you know, the weight is more, the weight of the bullet is, it kind of shifts it around. As where when a jacket hollow point, a lot of the bullet weight is in the rear and the nose is hollow, so it continues to spin really well. With full metal jacket, it's more like a badminton, where it's just kind of like once it starts veering off from that nose, it's going to veer off by, you know, yards. So looking at this ammo here, I already know what I'm going to get here, because I've done this hundreds of times. I've dealt with this hundreds of times. People will tell me that this is, you know, this is what you're going to get. This is what other people got. For sure, you need to test this because this is what you're going to get. And then I'll test it. And I'll get significantly less performance than what people were saying. And then they'll tell me, you did something to that ammo. There's something wrong with your guns. There's something wrong with your weather conditions. Yeah, every other ammo I test out here, it's within, you know, a very close range to its rated velocity. My accuracy is fine. Everything performs well with a lot of rounds, most rounds. And then you get this one-off thing. Well, you did this, and you did this, and you did this. Trying to explain why other people got such perfect performance. But the thing I find interesting is whenever I'm told this information, there's usually never any footage to back it up. They're just saying, this is, you know, when my cousin's friend went out on the range 14 years ago and tested this stuff, I mean, man, had to have been going 1,300 feet per second. It's the best 32 ammo out there. So the fact you got less than 800, well, you did something. You know, I get that a lot. But looking at this, what I'm going to say here, you know, people wanted me to test this for a long time, and what I'm seeing is it's the same as Cellular and Bellot, and or anything else of that, you know, economy level. There's nothing special about it. It's pretty good ammo, but I'm just not seeing anything where it's special ballistically. Ballistic performance. That being said, there's nothing wrong with it, because both of these in our real world simulation got adequate penetration without over penetrating, and both of these were very reliable, and at good distances, normal distances, they were very accurate and easy to shoot. So I would say overall they are a very consistent choice, you know, for the task at hand. Very reliable, close range accuracy, good terminal ballistics overall. So not bad ammo. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like. And thanks for watching.